of this was too much. In the first inning, you have seen there was a bit of assistance for the spinners. It was gripping a bit, but there was nothing much in the second inning. So it was quite difficult to score 190 runs. We are saying we are maybe 10 or 15 short because we have seen the second innings, but you have to also analyze the surface is completely different. And if you are looking for that 210, in the first innings, you may end up getting 160, and on a wicket like this, 160 becomes quite below par. So the only thing I'm disappointed about is the 2 no balls. Other than that, we tried our best, whatever the condition was, even if it was not in favor of the spinners, but whatever resources we had, we tried to make the best of the game.
Mahima, you spoke of the pitch not having much in it for the bowlers. Do you think sometimes on pitches like these, our bowlers tend to struggle a bit in terms of their skills or execution? We saw in the last time, Wankere.
I think, the spinner had a bit of assistance. As I said, once the dew comes in, it becomes more and more difficult for them to turn the ball because the seam gets wet at the same time the surface also becomes a bit greasy. So it comes down nicely to the bat. So I feel, we have seen that our spinners do struggle in conditions like these. If you remember one of the T20 Worldcup, we were knocked out because we had one bad game, and in fact that game there was dew, or I don't remember, maybe it was a bit of rain that got the ball wet. So that's where our spinners, they find it difficult. And it was quite evident because, Ash only bowled 2 overs and Jadeja, we were forced to make him bowl the last quota of his over, otherwise, we would have also only bowled 3 overs.
Skip both company to bring both Dhoni as well as Pandey to the level. One was of course we was out, but what contributed both of them actually.
Well, if you see Shikhar, he has been batting quite well, but he has not been able to convert. The thing with Rahane is, he's somebody who's quite calm and composed, and he knows his role and responsibility in the team. And this is the kind of innings that is expected of him. He won't be somebody who will bat like a Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli, but if you see somebody who is orthodox, will give us that good platform from which we can launch and score those extra 10 or 15 runs in the last few overs. Both of them are very good, but it's just that Shikhar kept getting the starts that were needed, but he was not able to really convert it. And in games like these, often you want to give the new guy a go, because if you see where Shikhar had an edge was the last few games before the start of the World Cup. Other than that, if you see the stats, Ajinkya has a very good stats, especially playing in these conditions throughout that period. He has been the leading run scorer when it comes to the openers. So those were all the reasoning behind it. And I'm glad, after facing a few deliveries, he got into his groove and he did what he does best.
Ashwin is on paper your number 1 spinner. He bowled only 2 overs. In Calcutta, he bowled 3 overs on a corner. Here he bowled 2 overs. Did you think of him in the last over when he gave it to bowl?
No, it was not in my mind. Looking at Russell and the big hitters and the amount of purchase that was on offer, that was not the best time for him to bowl. Calcutta, I'm not sure what my thinking was at that point of time. Often I also, when the wicket is turning, I like to take that gamble of keeping a few overs of the spinner so that if needed, I make a bowl. If not needed, I waste that 1 over. So I don't know the Calcutta thinking behind, but I can always talk about it.
Question here. We're sleeping shape almost everything in the game. Do you feel they continue on playing after this tournament?
Sorry?
Do you feel they continue playing on after this tournament?
Come here, let's have some fun. Please come here. Come, seriously.
Go ahead.
Yeah, come. You want me to retire?
No, well, okay. Just want to ask you.
I was hoping it was an Indian media guy, but because I can't really say if you have a brother or a son who can play for India.
Sure.
Do you think I'm unfit?
No?
Do you think I can survive to the 2019 World Cup?
Sure, yes, sure.
Then you have answered the question. No, I wish it was an Indian media guy, because I would have asked, whether he has a son that is old enough and a wicket keeper to play. If he would have said no, then I would have said, okay, maybe a brother who can play and be the wicket keeper. You fired the wrong ammunition at the wrong time.
मैंने 2 टूर्नामेंट्स देखे पिछले, हम लोग जीत भी रहे हैं, सेमीफाइनल तक पहुंच रहे हैं, लेकिन जो आपका स्टाइल था, जो एक विनिंग टच देने का, वो कहाँ चूक हो जा रही है? कुछ कॉम्बिनेशन में, या फिर लास्ट मिनट में कोई ऐसा मैच आ जाता है, या फिर कोई लक फैक्टर, या कुछ ऐसा कहाँ हो रहा है? क्योंकि जो धोनी को पूरा देश जानता है, जो तमाम फैंस जानते हैं, वो बड़े मैचों पे आके एक आपका जो लेवल ही अलग हो जाता है गेम का। यहाँ पिछले 2 टूर्नामेंट्स में देख रहे हैं कि जो क्रूशियल मैचेस है वहाँ चूक कर जाते हैं।
अगर आप देखें तो जो आपका टीम का कॉम्बिनेशन होता है, यू हैव रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ एवरी इंडिविजुअल, एंड इफ यू आर परफॉर्मिंग योर रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज वेल, यू विल एंड अप विनिंग द गेम। प्रॉब्लम होती है जब if the opposition is batting first, on surface that will remain the same, and they end up scoring 30 or 35 more runs than what is the past score. Or if you compare today's game, the surface in the first inning and second inning was very different. So ultimately what matters is how the players are performing. Luck and all it's good that we talk about luck because we start with the flip of coin. Other than that, you have to be at your best, you have to keep performing. If you know there was due, you try to win the toss. You can't really control it. You try to win the toss, put the opposition in, and then take the game from there. So, luck is a factor, definitely. But at the end of the day, you have to play good cricket. There's none of the tournaments that we have won was because of good luck. There's nothing called good luck. You have to execute your plans well. When an individual is given that tough responsibility of bowling one over when there's pressure, he bowls that good over, he executes his plan, ultimately you win the game. So it's not about, if he's the captain, you'll win the series, or if the other guy is the captain, you will lose the series. It's about how you're executing, what your plan is, how well the guys are executed. Or if, for example, you play a 9:30 start, and the wicket is wet in the first inning and the second inning wicket is better. So all these things are put into consideration, but as I said, there's something that are beyond control. So the only thing you want to do well is, executing your plans, trying to improve as a player, and that's what the strength of the squad is, because other things can change, or these other things are also.
ये फिनिशिंग का अच्छा होता है
क्या?
फिनिशिंग मतलब लास्ट में जैसे करते थे आप पहले
सिंडीज को भेज दूँ कि हो गया, मैं धोनी का अच्छा निकाल नहीं होता है सर, ये to compete, they will also do it.
But sir,
Don't get me.
last few questions about Tiger. You mentioned the 2 overs briefly. How disappointing is it when it comes to bowlers overstepping on such tracks that too in a T20 match in such a crunch?
Frankly, you have to take into account that nobody wants to bowl a no ball, but it's just that on tracks like these when it's so difficult, and if you bowl no ball and get a wicket on that no ball, there's no one else to blame, because also one of the catch was a brilliant catch that was taken off the no ball. And also what it does is it gives a free hit, and the batsmen, they get a chance into getting some kind of a momentum. So I feel the point at which the no balls were bowled, they were quite crucial to have got those wickets. You have got opportunity to bowl 1 or 2 overs of the spinners, get away with them without giving away too many runs. But nobody, as I said, nobody wants to bowl Yorkers, so I don't want to be too tough on them. But when there's pressure, that's where you have to be at your best. And no ball is something that can be avoided, especially the front foot no ball. You practice more. The only thing is you don't want to bowl a no ball.
Last question.
When you're playing against this West Indies team with all the fans, you're batting first. At some point, are you unsure of what total you have to set, and accordingly does it mess your plans or manage?
No, as I said, we have to keep reviewing what our strength is. If you see the Indian brand of cricket, we take 1 or 2 overs, we see how the wicket is behaving, and according to that, we say, okay, next 5 overs, let's look to do this. At the end of this over, if we have not lost too many wickets, this is where we should be. And what happens is you evaluate every 3 or 4 overs, and at times in 2 overs also, depending on who is bowling, and that has been our strength. Because of that, we always get a score that is a par plus score, because right from the start, if you think about the wicketers and you start looking at 210 as a good score, you may end up getting 160 or 170, and that will not be good enough on a wicket like this. So you always look to back your strength, but at the same time, go for a par plus score. Don't go for a score that is an absolute safe score. And what we have seen is, in this format, nothing is a safe score. We've seen 220, 230 also getting chased. So depending on your strength and depending on the wicket, we assess, okay, this is where we should really make sure that we reach.
Thank you very much.